Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. The state is another step closer to becoming an abortion sanctuary state. Now it's up to the voters for the final decision. State lawmakers want to hand out money to help people with inflation. The big spendings will come from the new $300 billion budget. And more fires are burning in the state. Several firefighters are getting injured as they try to contain the blaze. California is another step closer to becoming an abortion sanctuary state. The state Senate passed a constitutional amendment bill supporting abortion and contraceptive access. Now it's up to voters to decide whether or not to adopt the change. Here are the details.
California voters will decide whether abortion should be protected as a state constitutional right in the general election this November. Senate Constitutional Amendment 10, or SCA 10, seeks to expand California's current abortion protections by making an amendment to the state constitution. It would prohibit the state from denying or interfering with an individual's reproductive freedom, including their fundamental right to choose to have an abortion and their fundamental right to choose or refuse contraceptives. Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins authored the bill in response to the U.S. Supreme Court's June 24th ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade. The issue of abortion will now be decided by individual states. Assemblyman Kevin Kiley raised the question of post-viability abortions during an assembly hearing. Jonathan Keller, president of California Family Council, said in a statement that SCA 10 is extreme even for a state like California. Many people who identify as pro-choice still reject the idea of abortions ending the lives of viable children late in pregnancy. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom praised the passage of SCA 10. He also joined the governors of Oregon and Washington in welcoming out-of-state abortion seekers who cannot get the procedure in their home states.
Speaking of abortions, Governor Gavin Newsom is moving forward with his pledge to make California an abortion sanctuary. He has pledged millions of taxpayer money to pay for the process, but not everyone is covered. Let's see who will and will not have the coverage.
Governor Gavin Newsom declined to spend taxpayer dollars to fund people traveling to California to get an abortion. But California's budget will provide $40 million to pay for abortion procedures if women can't afford them. This would include abortion seekers from other states. The budget also includes millions of dollars allocated to abortion clinics. He says the funding would free up clinics' budgets so they could use their own money to help pay for women traveling to California if they so choose. A spokesperson for the governor's office said that Newsom has instead chosen to focus on improving existing abortion services. California is expected to receive a huge influx of women traveling to the state to get an abortion. In a statement, Newsom stated that we have to be realistic about what we can absorb. These decisions come in the wake of a recent Supreme Court ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court ruled that it was not the job of the federal government to regulate abortion. Instead, the court returned power to the states to pass their own judgment and laws either in favor or against such practices. Many states, such as Texas, Arizona, and Utah, have already restricted abortion procedures.
In addition to funding abortions, the state also approved a $17 billion spending plan aimed at providing inflation relief. It involves handing people up to $1,050.
California lawmakers have passed a $308 billion spending plan, and Governor Gavin Newsom could potentially sign it into law before the week ends. Inside the bill, there are things like $40 million for women who can't afford abortions, including those who live out of state, health insurance expansion for illegal immigrants, which is expected to help 700,000 people, and $17 billion in what California calls inflation relief.
23 million Californians will benefit from receiving up to $1,050 as soon as October. That's more money in your pocket.
California is the most populous state in the U.S., with a total population of 39.5 million. So this money would go to 58% of the population.
That's probably 3 fill-ups of somebody's car these days, and that'll be gone immediately. So that's not going to do much to helping people with the quality of life and actually providing for their families.
Bob Bilbrook is the CEO of Capture, a business consultancy. Bilbrook believes the handouts are the right thing to do.
California has a $100 billion budget surplus. That money is just sitting in a government coffer, which probably giving it back to the people is actually the bigger benefit, although it could increase rapid spending.
Not everyone thinks giving out money is a good idea.
Inflation it's too many dollars sort of in the system, and so everything starts to just get more expensive.
Eric Alexander is a financial advisor with Benchmark Income Group. Alexander says giving out money is throwing more gas on the fire.
Pushing money into the economy in order to kind of stabilize things is great in the moment, but all of that money supply starts to raise prices on its own.
The nearly $100 billion budget surplus came through a tax windfall, which partially resulted from a 13.3 capital gains tax. The richest 1% of Californians pay around half of the state's taxes. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
We are well into fire season, and a fire is now burning in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. After nearly 2 days of fighting the blaze, firefighters have put the Rice's fire at 12% containment, but 7 firefighters were injured. NTD's David Lamb reports.
According to CAL FIRE, the Northern California fire has consumed 904 acres as of Wednesday morning and is 12% contained. Dubbed the Rice's Fire, 7 firefighters were injured as it burns near Rice's Crossing Road in Nevada County, 70 miles north of Sacramento. It caused evacuation warnings for Nevada and Yuba County.
On the Rice's incident, NEU.
CAL FIRE reports that the fire started on June 28th at approximately 2 p.m., putting 250 structures at risk.
Origin of the fire is down by Doubleback Road.
At least 1,000 personnel and 150 engines were assigned to the blaze, according to state data. A fire authority and a county official shared appreciation for the fire crews and law enforcement assigned to the rural fire.
And I think of the ones that are all out still on the line, and I'm overwhelmed and humbled and thankful for you, as well as all of my community.
The fire remains east of the Yuba River, and Thursday's objective was to ensure it doesn't cross into Yuba County. Authorities found at least 1 structure burned and several buildings impacted.
We do know that there was 1 structure that has been impacted by fire. That was the determined to be the cause of the wildland fire, was a structure fire in the area. We are still investigating the actual cause of the structure fire, but we can confirm that the wildland fire, the Rice's incident, was caused by a structure fire.
The county said firefighters both on the ground and in different air resources are continuing to aggressively fight the fire. The cause of the original spark is under investigation, but CAL FIRE expects full containment by July 3rd. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we've got for you when we come back. It's a somber day for the El Monte community. The city held a funeral for the 2 officers who were killed on duty earlier this month. Disney is under fire again. This time, people are criticizing the entertainment conglomerate for promoting the idea that men can have menstrual cycles. Need help buying a house? A new proposal to help first-time homebuyers with down payments. But will it raise overall costs? That and more on California Today. The 2 officers who were recently shot and killed on duty in Southern California have been put to rest. The El Monte community held a funeral for the 2 late officers. NTD's Jackie Reels has more on the story.
A somber day in Ontario as the city of El Monte and the El Monte Police Department host a memorial service for 2 other officers who were killed on June 14th while responding to reports of a stabbing at a local motel. Attending the memorial, friends, family, and police officers from all over the region. The city of El Monte held a funeral procession on Thursday for First Sergeant Michael Paredes and Officer Joseph Santana. According to the coroner's office, the suspect died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Locals were present to show their support for the fallen officers.
In the world we live in today, there's too much violence going on. You know, we need to bring in the Word of God more into our lives. Unfortunately, it happens. You know, law enforcement officers, man, they got to be aware of all their surroundings. You know, so unfortunately, it was just a tragedy, and our hearts go out to the families.
He and others thank the officers for their service.
My prayers go out to the families and their children, their grandchildren, grandma and grandpas, whoever came into their lives. And may they just see peace in the future, and may they rest in peace.
There's also a fundraiser to help the families of the fallen officers. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Now to Northern California, where 2 Oakland police officers are facing an investigation. They're currently on leave as the police department investigates whether or not they violated protocol before a fatal crash. Here's the story.
The Oakland police chief announced Wednesday 2 rookie officers are put on administrative leave as they investigate an incident that caused a fatal crash.
When someone's life is lost, when officers are engaged in incidents that we are looking deeply into, it's important that we do investigations that are thorough, comprehensive, and complete.
On Sunday morning, a driver sped away from a sideshow at nearly 100 miles per hour when the officers chased after him. The car lost control, crashed, and injured 3 people, killing 1. The driver was identified as 19-year-old Arnold Linaldi. He is detained and being charged with vehicular manslaughter. According to KTVU, the officers allegedly did not have authorization or approval to pursue the car. After the incident, the police chief opened an internal investigation with several agencies.
The school district in California recently approved a budget that seeks to combat many problems plaguing the district. This includes closing learning gaps and addressing declining enrollment and staffing shortages.
Los Angeles Unified School District's Board of Education approved Superintendent Alberto Carvalho's budget and long-term vision for K-12 schools. The 2022-2023 budget is $18.5 billion. Of that, $1.9 billion is invested into closing learning gaps. The money will be used to address student academic gaps, declining enrollment and funding, teacher and staff shortages, and student safety concerns. In a statement, Carvalho said this budget is values-based, enabling Los Angeles Unified to fund and support the critical priorities of this board. During the June 21st board meeting, when the budget was approved, Carvalho noted that the district is getting less funding. He stressed that the LAUSD will have to stay vigilant in its spending in the coming years. This is in part due to enrollment decline, which is expected to drop by 30% over the next decade. A 1% decline in enrollment can result in a loss of approximately $55 million in funding. In addition, Carvalho is preparing the district for the time when the federal pandemic funding is no longer available. School Board President Kelly Gonez said the approved budget demonstrates a clear commitment to equity, achievement, and sustainability. The new budget is $1.5 billion less than the previous year's $20 billion. The estimated unassigned budget amount is $370.4 million. The board expects to continue revising the budget up until August 23rd.
The Disney Corporation is under fire again for including LGBT content in children's programs. A new Disney show appears to promote the idea that men need menstrual products too. Here are the details.
Investigative journalist Christopher Rufo posted this clip on Twitter Tuesday. The video is from Disney's new show Baymax, which started streaming on Disney Plus this Wednesday, and it's rated PG.
Excuse me, which of these products would you recommend?
I prefer pads. They're more comfortable for me.
Thank you.
I always get the ones with wings.
In the clip, a male-sounding person wearing a transgender flag can be seen recommending menstrual products to Baymax. Rufo criticized Disney for it, saying the show promotes the transgender flag and the idea that men can have periods to children as young as 2 years old. It's all part of Disney's plan to re-engineer the discourse around kids and sexuality. The clip has triggered a debate on social media over whether the messaging is appropriate in an animated series for children. Disney has faced recent backlash for actively including LGBT ideologies in its programs. Earlier this year, Rufo publicized footage of an internal company call in which Disney executives discussed the company's not-at-all-secret gay agenda, including a push for more LGBT cartoon characters. NTD reached out to Disney for comment, but didn't hear back before airtime. Reporting by Allison Lee, NTD News.
California lawmakers are proposing a new program to help first-time homebuyers with their down payments. Supporters say it helps with economic security. Opponents think it will raise the cost of buying a house.
California Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins is proposing to create a $1 billion fund per year for 10 years to help first-time homebuyers with their down payments. Governor Gavin Newsom already included it in the 2022-23 state budget on June 27th. The program, called California Dream for All, would help pay 17% of the home price to make home ownership more affordable for first-generation homeowners. When the homeowner refinances or sells the home, the share of the home value originally covered by the state should be paid back. Atkins said in May that the California Dream for All program will give more people the chance to break free from the cycle of renting, become the first in their families to own a home, and make it possible for more people to set their children and grandchildren on a path to success. California State Treasurer Fiona Ma and some real estate organizations also support the program. However, some experts believe government funds will make homes more unaffordable in California, unless there is enough supply. Jim Righeimer, a real estate developer, told the Epic Times that giving people free down payments for houses would raise the cost of houses. Miosa Diop, an assistant professor of real estate in University of Southern California, agrees with Righeimer, adding that the higher demand means higher prices unless there is enough supply. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
Among 500 California beaches, Orange County has the most cleanest beaches. Poor water quality of the dirtiest beaches is due to dirty creek and deteriorating bird netting.
According to this year's beach report card by Heal the Bay, Orange County has the cleanest beaches in California, followed by San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Luis Obispo counties.
The beach report card is an important and comprehensive public health tool, providing weekly and annual water quality grades based on bacterial pollution at over 700 beaches from Washington to Tijuana.
The report assigns A to F letter grades for 500 California beaches based on sewage-related pollutants measured by county health agencies. A total of 51 beaches around the state landed on Heal the Bay's honor roll.
California beachgoers enjoyed excellent water quality in the summer months of 2021. 94% of the 500 California beaches on our list received good or excellent grades. That's an A or a B when the beaches are most visited.
This year's Beach Bummers lists 10 dirtiest beaches in the state, including Santa Monica Pier. In response, Santa Monica's officials stated the city would replace deteriorating bird netting. The current one has failed to keep bird droppings out of the water. According to the report, the poor water quality is also due to a nearby creek that carries runoff from the surrounding neighborhoods.
Now let's check in with Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup.
Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, and Cody Bellinger hit home runs as Los Angeles avoided a 3-game sweep at the hands of Colorado in Denver. The Dodgers received 2 of their 3 home runs from the top 3 spots in the order and got 5 hits from the bottom 3 spots. Number 8, Gavin Lux, had 2 hits, while number 9 hitter Eddie Alvarez drove in 2 runs. Dodgers 8, Rockies 4. Shohei Ohtani threw 5 2/3 scoreless innings and struck out 11 to lead Los Angeles to a win over Chicago in Anaheim, California. Ohtani went 0 for 3 with a walk at the plate, but got offensive support from Mike Trout and Luis Rengifo, as the Angels took 2 of 3 in the series. Ohtani has 24 strikeouts in his past 2 starts, has not allowed a run in his past 3 outings, extending his scoreless inning streak to 21 2/3. Angels 4, White Sox 1. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton homered in the same game for the 9th time this season, and New York completed a sweep of visiting Oakland. Judge hit his major's best 29th homer 2 batters into the first inning when he lifted a full count sinker to left field. After Judge's 429-foot drive, Stanton hit his 19th homer with 2 outs in the third when he sent Irving's 2-2 changeup into the right field seats. New York's Jamison Taylor survived a rocky start and allowed 3 runs on 7 hits in 5 innings for his 9th straight win. Oakland dropped 5-20 this month and did all of its scoring in the opening inning as it went swept for the 8th time this year. Stephen Piscotty hit a 2-run double and scored on a single by Elvis Andrus, who drove in 5 of Oakland's 9 runs in this series. Yankees 5, Athletics 3. Mike Clevinger allowed 1 hit in 6 shutout innings, and Jake Cronenworth snapped an 0 for 26 drought with 3 straight hits, driving in 2 runs and scoring a third as visiting San Diego blanked Arizona to gain a split of the 2-game series in Phoenix. The only hit off Clevinger was a leadoff single by Geraldo Perdomo in the third. Clevinger also issued a walk and struck out 6 in his longest outing of the season. It marked the first time since the end of 2020 that Clevinger worked at least 6 scoreless innings in a game. Madison Bumgarner gave up 1 run and 4 hits and 3 walks with 4 strikeouts in 5 innings for the Diamondbacks before taking the loss. Bumgarner has yet to win a game against the Padres in his 3 seasons with the Diamondbacks, going 0-5 in 8 starts. Padres 4, Diamondbacks 0. Eric Haas belted a go-ahead 2-run homer in the 6th inning as visiting Detroit beat San Francisco to salvage a split of a 2-game interleague series. In wrapping up a 3-5 road trip that began with 3 straight losses, the Tigers benefited from the 1,829th career RBI from Miguel Cabrera and 5 strong innings from starter Ronnie Garcia. San Francisco's only run against Garcia came on Evan Longoria's 8th homer of the season in the 1st inning. Tigers 3, Giants 2.
And that's all for sports.
That's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, or you just want to let us know how we're doing, our email is california.today@ntd.com. I'm Liang Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.